made it out, if Javi made it out, if Erica made it out, if Matt made it through, if all these people made it out of what they were going through, then why not me? But now I have to pay attention to what they did. And this is what Jesus says. He says, but when, verse 10, and the gospel must first be preached to all the nations. But when they arrest you and deliver you up, do not worry beforehand or premeditate what you will speak. Boy, that's rough. He says, but whatever is given you in that hour, speak that. For it is not you who speak, but the Holy Spirit. I want to just hang out right there, because every single one of us have been through trials. Now, our trials look different, but the components are still the same. There's an offense. How many people in your life, I just want you to think about it right now for a second. Can you have an offense with you, or you have an offense with them? I just need you to just stop and think about this for a moment, because I want to help us get to this place where we understand that we're going to have moments where we feel confined to someone else's opinion of us. Listen, stay with me. There's an offense, and where there's an offense, there's always an accuser, and there's always a defendant. There's always a judge, and there's always a jury. Now, in Western civilization, our hope in a trial is to convince the jury that we are innocent of charges, so that the judge will release us from the offense or from the charge, so there's no consequence. However, when Jesus was saying what he was saying, the jury wasn't part of this formula. In Jesus's time, there was the offense, the accuser, there was the defendant, and there was the judge. There was just 4 components. It wasn't about convincing a jury. The judge had the final say. But nowadays, we find ourselves in Western civilization. When we see that word trial, and trial is a legal word, let me give you that definition. It is the formal examination before a competent tribunal of the matter in issue. It says, in a civil or criminal cause, in order to determine such issue. Another definition is the action or process of trying or putting to the proof test, a test of faith, patience, or stamina through subjection to suffering or temptation. See, there's trials in a legal setting, and then there's trials in a clinical setting, because in a trial, something is being tested in order to prove its character or durability. So I want for you to think for a moment, what are the offenses that have come toward you, or the offenses you've been accused of toward others? Because what does it feel like to be accused? What does it feel like? What goes through our minds when we've been accused? What happens when somebody posts that post on Facebook and you know they're talking about you? What happens whenever somebody rolls their eyes at what you're saying in a meeting at work and you know they're not taking you serious? What happens whenever somebody calls your wife or your husband and says something about you that may or may not be true? But what does it feel like to be accused? What happens whenever your brother or your sisters actually, and I'm talking about fraternal and brothers and sisters, real, blood brothers and sisters. What happens whenever your brother did the deed, but you're the one getting accused of it because you're always the one who seems to be caught up in some mess, always the one doing extra, always the one being messy? What does it feel like to be accused? It causes us to want to defend ourselves. But in a trial, there's someone assigned to the defense. And here's the important thing about being in a trial. In a trial, the defense attorney speaks on behalf of the accused. Matter of fact, in most cases, the accused will not speak until given a specific moment to be able to share their cause. They're encouraged throughout the trial not to allow emotions to get the best of them, even though their fate is in question. They're encouraged to stay quiet and to trust the defense. I want you to understand that Hebrews tells us that we have a great high priest that stands before the throne of God and is speaking on our behalf. Jesus is our defense. Jesus is the one who speaks up on our behalf, regardless of the accusation. So here Jesus, before the crucifixion, pre-resurrection, is telling his disciples, when you go through these trials, I don't want you to rehearse what you're going to say. Have you ever caught yourself rehearsing how you're going to give somebody the what for whenever you finally see them because of what they've said, done, or acted toward you? Have you ever said, oh, I wish have you ever been the type to say, oh, I wish somebody would, or I bet they won't, or if they do? Have you ever just caught yourself getting a roll in your neck whenever you're talking about a particular group of people and how you're going to confront them the next time you see them? I want for you to know and understand that whenever you're going through a trial, it is so important for us to understand God is operating on our behalf. He says, I don't want you to rehearse what you're going to say. Because what happens in a trial, he tells them, wait until the right moment. Wait until the proper time. Wait until you find yourself in the situation where I can speak through you. I've learned in my life that one of the most critical skills, and it is a skill, one of the most critical skills to learn is to know when not to say anything, and then to understand when to say something. Jesus says, I don't want you premeditating. I don't want you rehearsing what you're going to say in these moments. Wait until the right time, because then the Holy Spirit will speak through you. Isn't it awesome that the Holy Spirit isn't somewhere cross-examining himself, and he's not somewhere trying to figure out